Hello and good evening, everybody. We're finally back with our brand new Don Rosa live stream. It's been a couple months. It's been a busy year for Don. He had to work lots and lots in his yard, and then he lately was on a couple events in the US, but we finally managed to bring you back one of our very popular live streams. Before we go over to Don, he's already here in the back end. Let me just quickly introduce you to all the Don Rosa social media as usual. And oh, by the way, I'm Yano. I'm your host tonight. Okay, if you want to follow us, you can do that as usual on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Don Rosa Official. You can also follow us on Twitter. That's Twitter at Don Rosa. On Instagram, that's at Don Rosa. And as usual, doing our live streams. If you want to support us and like what we do and want to see more of it in the future, you can support us on Ko-fi with a donation. That is ko-fi.com/Don Rosa. What will we be doing tonight? First of all, we'll be visiting a brand new room at Don's home, and then we will have, at the halftime break, we will have a look at the brand new big ass Don Rosa Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck Deluxe Edition that's going to be available in a couple weeks from Fantagraphics in the US. And then we might even have a small look around on Don's outside and have a look at his big yard and estate. We'll see. And so, yeah, I see he's ready to go. And so let me introduce you to the man himself. Here he is. Here is Don Rosa. Good evening, Don. Good afternoon, Don.
Good afternoon. Yeah, afternoon here, evening there. Well, where you are.
Yeah, we finally meet again after a couple months. So what have you been up to over the last months?
Well, started actually going to some comic conventions. Probably wouldn't have, and I wouldn't have promised to go, but we thought the COVID stuff was over. Little did we know about all the idiots who don't want to wear masks or get vaccinated. So it all came back on us after the conventions had already made irreversible plans, and I'd promised to support them. But actually, I was safer. These are huge convention halls, like a block long and half a block wide, packed with people. But every single one of them is wearing a mask. And at some of the conventions, every single one of them can't get in without a vaccination card. Now, when I'm at the grocery down the street or in town, barely a third of the people are wearing masks, and I don't know how many of them are vaccinated. So I think I'm safer at these conventions than I am just going to the local grocery. And another one coming up, Baltimore, in just 3 or 4 days. And like I say, they probably wouldn't have gone through with these late summer conventions, but I'm glad they did. It's everything seems to be doing all right. But what have I been doing besides that? Well, always mowing grass. Seems like at least 30% of my time. Gardening, growing chilies. I wish we could go out and look at the chili garden. That's the only part of the garden that's still growing, still producing, but that's a little bit too far away. I don't have a cable that long, and even if I did, I think the signal isn't that strong. But like you were telling them, I think maybe we'll do it right after we take a look around this room. I think we can walk out on the deck in the sun and take a look around the yard. But then after we come in and around the 2 o'clock point, 2 o'clock here, what's that, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 o'clock there. Maybe at that point, I'll show you that big book, if anybody wants to see it. Flip through it, and holding the camera, that's right there now. And then maybe we'll try sitting out on the deck and see what that's like. You can hear the trucks driving by in the distance, and maybe a bird land on the bird feeder and back me. Something different.
Sounds good. Sounds
So
good.
what have you
Yes.
been doing all summer? No, nobody cares. No, but so what? There's no theme to this particular live
No.
stream. There's no theme to this particular live stream. I can't do a comic book challenge in the comic vault. I'm not in the library. In the studio, I'm not in the studio. So I've got tropical fish. But we'll just, I guess the floor is wide open to any comments or questions. So when you're the boss, Yano is the master of ceremonies.
Yeah,
I guess you're
sure.
already
So,
getting questions and so on. I don't see any on the screen.
if you have any questions for Don, send them in as usual, and we'll.
Oh yes, there they
check
are,
some.
over on the side. Yeah. I
Somebody
don't have time to read them. Yano has to read them. So.
Yeah, somebody's already saying they're looking forward to seeing the book and receiving the book that they ordered, and yeah. And somebody is saying, well, these are nice, still just hang around and talk. So we'll just keep doing that.
And now I'll ask you, how many people are online now? At least 100?
So far, 133.
Okay. Yes, but tens of thousands watch it on YouTube later, right?
Of course, yes. So,
well,
should we start?
Okay, I guess now is when we do the walk around, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. Get this chair out of the way. I'm going to unplug the electricity, but it's got a battery. And I'll pick up the camera. Hold on. I'm trying to close it. There. All right. So here's our great room, or our conservatory, or the sunroom. Nice tile floor. Hold on a moment. The camera's loose. There, that's better. This has become my desk. I've cleared it off for the time being. Oh, I guess you've noticed this. Here's young Scrooge. He's just earned his first dime, and he's going to spend it on 2 White Castle hamburgers. Don't try to make any sense out of that. But
we won't. We won't.
Speaking of White Castle, here's a couple of things. A couple of White Castle hamburger stands that come with train sets, or I think this one came from a Christmas display. You know, you buy all these little pieces of a 1940s town or something, and you see it's got snow on the roof. Here's the, have a look at him from this angle, bobblehead of the founder of White Castle. There's another little White Castle. Look, you can see right inside. And here's Hannibal Lecter. Now let's see if his battery still works. If I remember where his switch is. Oh, there it is. Well, I don't see which way to turn it. Up. All right, I guess the battery's dead. But he says all the normal little Hannibal Lecter expressions. I would show you my, well, let's see. It looks like a branch of a tree has grown over top of it. Here's my collection of kitsch 1950s outdoor barbecue paraphernalia. Most all of these are tags that you put in a steak to tell people how done it is. I don't know what good that is. You just tell them. Why don't you just tell them? And there's my cook's hat that I'll wear. This being a Sunday, we'll have a cookout before it gets too cold. Lots of other stuff there, but now it looks like I'm going to have to. There, it's better. I'm going to have to trim that bush. So I got to remember, Yano, keep reminding me to move slowly. I keep forgetting to do that. Oh, I was going to ask my wife to clean up.
It's okay.
There's a quadraphonic sound system. Nice big trees in this room. Here's this one, a Chefalera, I believe. It's big. Had that since it was a baby. I don't know how long it's going to be able to live in that pot, but until it gets too root watered and dies, I guess it's nice having a tree that big in the house. You see, I've got a fishing line holding it up. So this is a room where we spend just about all our time. Okay, you're wondering why there's 2 TVs here. That's a typical modern flat screen, widescreen HD TV. But below it is a Mitsubishi from about 1980. This is, I think, the second biggest television set made for the public. That's a cathode ray tube in a wood cherry cabinet, like real TVs should be. And when it went out, I decided to keep it because it's so beautiful and a collector's item. And I put the new TV, I used the old TV as the TV stand for the new TV.
We got a question if we just saw a sound system for vinyl records, and if you want to show it.
No, it's very unusual, but vinyl records are just about the only aspect of outmoded, not that it's outmoded, but you know what I mean, more old-fashioned entertainment that I have abandoned. I had a huge LP collection and had Dan Shane, a friend of mine, who does many such favors for me, put it all on CD. So I'm afraid I don't have any LPs left. The only ones are the Thomas Holopainen's Life of Scrooge LPs, just for collector's items. Let's see, here's all my nature books, gardening books. Here's a plant given to me as a housewarming gift by a friend of mine that's grown quite a bit. Goes across here. Let's see, it goes up this tree, goes along that wire. Now it's going to go up over the ceiling, I think. Let's see, here's my Don Rosa cigar collection. Don Rosa cigars were a popular cigar around the late 19th century. I think that's a playing card. Yeah, I got a set of playing cards. Is it in there? No. Here's some more Don Rosa cigar boxes. I think this set of playing cards is in. No, I don't know what that was. I'll have to check later. Let's see. Look at the fish tank. Any tropical fish fans out there?
I think I saw a comment asking what fish they are.
What was that?
I think I saw a comment where somebody asked what kind of fish they are. So,
well, they're tropical fish. Right there is a silver dollar. He's my biggest fish currently. The oldest fish are very timid, so you're not going to see any of them. They're inside there. They're inside there. I have 5 large clown loaches. Those are my favorite fish. But they're very, very shy. They only come out when I feed them or when they know they're not on international television. I'd like to see how nice and clear that water is. See, you can see right out the other side of the tank. Oh, okay, let's walk over and look at the 1930s slot machine my father bought. I think back in the mid-60s. He said he bought it from, it was coming back from Vietnam or somewhere where they had these over in USOs. I had it restored about 10 years ago, but some small part has broken, and now I don't need to put nickels in it. So I shouldn't play it because as I drain nickels in large and small winnings, there's no way to put more nickels back in. Let's see. This always tells me when my father got this. That one doesn't prove it, but about 99.9% of the nickels in there are from 1964. Here's artwork by my favorite wildlife artist, Charles Harper. He does symmetrical designs, very funny, kind of like Norman Rockwell. Every picture, this is something different. This is summer, spring, fall, and winter. Isn't that cute? And a little bouquet up there. I mean, wreath. Here's the house is filled with. Oops, the house is filled with these. See, that's a downy woodpecker hanging upside down on a tree, and this is King Kong hanging right side up on the Empire State Building. Here's my CD collection. Like I say, I've abandoned LPs and gone to CDs.
Somebody's asking if it's possible to see your dogs, by the way.
Not unless they come in here. And we're keeping them out of there. Well, maybe we'll work on that later. Maybe we'll let them out on the deck. Let's see. This is all your hit parade music, swing music, jazz music. From there up, collections. I'm not going to try to collect actual old, well, there weren't any CDs in the 30s and 40s, but I collect many things, but I only collect these as on modern CDs. And then I think from here down is all classical music, and that's all classical music. And then from here, all of these. Tell me if I'm going too fast.
No, we can see everything fine.
All of these. And of course that. These are all movie soundtracks, including this, a movie soundtrack for a movie that doesn't exist. Okay, what else? Here is an 1890s Parlor Stove, it's called. This is what you would see in, let me move the TV out of the way so you can get that's the TV that goes out on the deck when we're eating dinner sometimes. This is what would go in the lobby of a hotel in the Old West. Burns coal, of course. I bought this, 25 years ago, thinking I was going to use it over here as how to heat this whole room, but I found out nobody would hook it up because it's a fire hazard, or it's a monoxide hazard. Anyway, nobody would hook it up, so it's been sitting here. I wish somebody'd buy it. But this is always interesting when I show this to people, and also when I first saw it myself. I saw it's plastic. I said, how can you have plastic windows in what's this, like a furnace? It's a coal-burning furnace. Does anybody out there know what that is? It's not plastic. It's, I think, a common thing in old parlor stoves. It's mica schist. Any geologists out there? That's an actual mineral that comes out of mines. It's impervious to flame or heat. A natural mineral. Okay, now we'll take a look around the deck. And then we'll go and sit down again and start doing some questions and answers. It's a lovely day, so I think it'd be nice if we came out here for the second hour just to see what it's like to do a live stream outdoors. Yeah, there's a chickadee on the bird feed. He said, I'm on TV. I got to get out of here. Been a lot of rain and nice weather, so the deck plants are or they're looking a bit long in the tooth, but they're still healthy. There's our little pond down there that I think was actually the Department of the Housing Code. There was a housing code when the previous owner bought the house. They had to have a runoff pond for the septic system, so he had to have that installed. Just take a quick look around here, and then here's some chilies from the garden, drying. My wife wanted to have some of this type of chili whenever recipes during the winter called for dried chilies. But the chilies I grow, I eat raw or I don't eat at all. So that's here. This is set up for tonight. This being Sunday, we'll have a cookout. I think we're going to do some chili and sea bass tonight. I got some pecan pieces, pecan wood, standing by to do some smoking. There's that chickadee back. There's the two other modes of cooking food. There's the water smoker and a gas grill for quick jobs that aren't important. Cooking with propane is that's for sissies. Cooking with charcoal, that's takes finesse and intelligence and technique. Okay, now, Yano, why don't you entertain, sing a song or something, because I'm going to have to set the camera and everything back up.
Okay, so yeah, while Don is preparing for the different camera angle, yeah, send in more questions, send in what you want to know from Don about his home, about the new book. Yeah, you can already send in questions about the big fat Life and Times of Scrooge book, so we can go through them afterwards when he packed it out. And yeah, you can also tell us what you did over the summer yourself. And yeah, I already saw some comments asking if we might be back in Europe in the future. And of course we might, but at the moment nothing is definitely planned. So stay tuned. And if there are more info on this, you will find out on the event calendar as usual. And now I think Don is ready to go again. Is Don ready to go again?
Yeah, I just have to get that camera perfect. I mean, I've got 2.5 panes in each door. You saw the assistant cameraman sneaking out there. It's not my idea not to put her on camera. She is just shy like that. She just doesn't like being on camera. So don't blame me if I'm not showing my dear wife. That's her preference. Anyway, do I have it exactly level? I can't be on TV if everything isn't exactly perfect. Now, let's see. That timber right across the top is not even. So it needs to tip that way a little bit. Now, you can go ahead. I'm just playing around. You got a question, or anybody wanted to know anything about the yard? Or
Okay, there's a question.
Yeah.
How do you react how do you American people react when you tell them, or if they happen to come across your popularity in Europe? Do they believe you? Is it like a big surprise? Is it like a shock? Does that ever happen at all?
What sort of people are you thinking of?
I don't
The
know.
only
The question is just people in real life react when you tell them
Well,
you're a
okay,
famous
believe
musician.
this or not, I don't encounter many people in real life. I'm an eccentric recluse. I stay in this 30 acres just about all the time, unless I'm going to a Comic-Con or a tour of Europe, or going camping, or on a Christmas, or going on a vacation. Okay, let me think about that for a few minutes. So, I don't socialize. I don't normally see many people in the course of my day. Well, in the course of a normal day, I don't see anybody but my wife. I go into town once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks on errands. That's it. Now, the most interesting times when somebody has come across that are people who come out here to spray the lawn or fix the plumbing or things like that. I do recall one person walking across through the entryway, and there was a stack of books I'd just gotten from Europe. I remember it was the book, that lovely Italian book called A Little Something Special. Just one of the, I mean, a magnificently generously produced book. See, I start to get choked up just thinking about it. But there was a stack of those there in the vestibule, and a guy came by who was walking through, and he just saw my name on the book, and he says, "Oh, are those books you wrote?" And I said, "Oh, no, those are books about me." So that, what do they think about things like that? I don't know. Like the people who come and do the yard work on the trees, 30 acres of trees, a lot of them fall down, and I need help. A team of people with chainsaws and who can help cut the trees up, and they know about it, and they're used to it. But like I say, when I see people in bunches, it's at comic conventions, and the only people who come to my table are people who already know my work, and they already know how popular I am in Europe, so they already know all that. So I'm thankful because that I don't have to explain this a lot, because people wouldn't believe it. Because a typical American thinks everybody all over the world likes the same things they do, and they think everybody all over the world acts the same way they do. So I'm pretty happy. I wouldn't like to be thrown into a situation where I had to make conversation with somebody who's going to ask me lots of questions about myself, because I don't want to talk about myself. It's too long a story to try to explain and wonder if people are going to believe it or not. So, is that partway answer to that question?
Yeah. Also,
the thing you have to understand is I'm an eccentric recluse, so that makes it easy.
We had a couple of questions, I think 2 or 3, asking about if we ever, I already know the answer, but you tell them again.
You know the answers to everything. You've heard these answers so many times.
No, if we ever, I think we addressed this before, but if we ever might see some live painting or live sketching on the stream.
Not if I can help it. Well, maybe. No, this is supposed to be pleasant for everybody, right? I don't mind drawing if the person I'm doing the drawing for free is right there watching. Then I'll be glad to do them a drawing. But just to do a drawing that I'm not going to hand to somebody, I don't like to draw. It's tedious, and I don't think I do it well. And everybody say, "Oh yes, you do. Yes, you do." Okay, I'm not going to argue about that, but I'm just not going to do it on the live stream, because I want these live streams to be as much fun for me as it is for people watching. I think they always are, especially if we're over in the comic vault. I get a big kick out of showing off my comic collection or my book collection, and I want to be entertaining in that way. But I do. That's the big problem. Yano and I have discussed this. That naturally, most people want to ask me the same questions over and over and over, because everybody hasn't heard the answers to all those questions. So that's natural. I don't resent in any way people asking me the same questions I've answered thousands of times for the last 30 years. It has to be done. But I want to balance it with new questions. So these live streams have got to be entertaining for everybody. I guess one way to look at it is, there's other cartoonists, artists writers, actors, I guess, that do live streams all the time because they're promoting something. They're selling you something. They want you to buy their new book, their new comic, go to see their new movie, buy their new record. I'm not selling anything. So I don't get anything out of doing this. I'm not paid to do this. I don't make a profit off doing this. I know Yano asks for some donations to pay, because this is a service, a streaming service that costs a monthly fee, and there's also some equipment we bought, trying to figure out a way to use all of it. We bought a little bit too much at first, or maybe not exactly the right stuff, but that costs money. So doing these live streams is something I only do for fun, and I hope it's something you watch for fun. But it has to be fun for both of us. And if I had to draw, and what would you see anyway? You wouldn't see me doing drawings like what you've read in my comics. That's very boring to watch that. It's very slow. For one thing, I can't do it anymore. It's too tiny. It's very slow and boring. So if I did any kind of drawing at all, it would be just big sloppy heads that I've at least done enough times for fans at conventions around the world that I'm not too embarrassed. Sometimes they're not bad. But if you want to see me drawing a picture, aren't there lots of them on YouTube? You want to see it live, I guess. Huh? I don't think you better come to a comic convention or a tour or something and watch me doing it right there in front of your very eyes, and then you get to take the drawing. Isn't that better? Anyway, the answer is no, because this is supposed to be fun for everybody, and drawing is not something I enjoy doing. Come on, Yano, where are you?
Okay, next question.
He's still there.
Here's a specific question from Finland about whether the Don Rosa library is coming to Finland, because apparently there a cover that looks like the Fantagraphics book popped up somewhere.
I guess I'm supposed to say yes. Nobody's told me not to speak of it. They've told me they're working on the first volume. Forgive me, I'm over here on the laptop, and there's the camera. So sometimes I look here instead of looking. I know I'm supposed to look there. Yes, there's going to be the Don Rosa library, the Fantagraphics version, translated to Finnish, is supposed to start in Finland soon. I thought it would have started by now.
Apparently a cover was released because they saw it and they are asking if it's the same book series.
Oh, that's all I want to know. Yeah, it's just a Finnish version of the Don Rosa library. Like in Germany, they have the German version of the Fantagraphics Don Rosa library, the perfected one, almost. Yano's still perfecting it. And what is Sweden and Denmark?
I think Swedish so far, yes.
Italy's done it twice now. Russia, China, Poland. Those are the ones I know about. But yeah, this person saw it advertised inside an Aku Anka.
I think
he just wasn't sure if it was going to be the Fantagraphics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that they are doing it in Finland, and it is the same as the American and all those others. It's the perfected version that Yano is also still continuing to perfect even more perfectly.
Okay, here's a different question, because we saw the White Castle stuff. Do you have a favorite White Castle memory?
Just eating them when I was a little kid, living in St. Matthews, Kentucky. White Castle memory. Always used to get them to go, so I don't have many memories of things that happened in White Castle. We went there, Lois Lammenhuber. We went there for a short photo session for that book, I Still Get Chills. That was kind of interesting. let's see. Here's this petrified White Castle hamburger. That's kind of an interesting. See? No, it's a paperweight. My favorite White Castle memories are things that I used to find on eBay. Oh, it's already been 20 years since I think eBay is either not as active as it was, which is true. Everybody knows that. As far as collectors, really old collectors' items, but actually finding White Castle cardboard boxes. The little White Castle hamburgers came in little miniature boxes, each one, and actually find those on eBay from the 30s and 40s and 50s in perfect condition, and get them for just, it seems like $10 each, because nobody else wanted them, except maybe one other guy. So it went all the way up to $10. Finding the old mugs. Got one off eBay in nice shape from I think the late 20s, early 30s. That was about $60. I missed one just last week. Somebody outbid me. I think it was from the 40s, and I got outbid. But I didn't really go after it aggressively because I think I already had one of that type. I don't know. That's a good question for a White Castle hamburger aficionado, but I don't have a good reply.
Okay, we also got a question about how you originally got into the chili plants and eating and stuff.
I think, as I recall, when I grew up, I did most of my own cooking, TV dinners, and especially by the time I was 12, 13 years old on. My mother never cooked. I think my father would bring home, I'm not sure what she ate, what my parents ate. My father would go out to eat. But I would fix TV dinners all through high school and college when I was home, and after I got out of college. And I think one thing I found going through the freezer compartment of the groceries were egg rolls, Chinese egg rolls that I'd get and fix those for snacks watching old movies late at night. And that came with mustard sauce. And I got a real taste for hot Chinese mustard, or hot British mustard also. And I guess I realized that I liked hot food, so I started eating chilies, and then actually started growing chilies, and then realizing that the chilies you see at the grocery store are maybe the most boring chilies that are known to man. They're not very hot, they're not very tasty. I shouldn't say that about the jalapeno. That's an amazing chili. It's not very hot, but unlike any other chili, I guess it's been bred for such thick, meaty skin. It's jalapenos have that thick shell hull. No other chilies. Other chilies have just paper thin outer surface. So that's what makes jalapenos so good. But all the other chilies at the grocery are boring. Serrano and habanero. Habaneros are all right. They have a nice taste. Sorrento. What's another? Anyway, there's two or three other, maybe only two other chilies you see at groceries. And I'm not sure how I found it out, but I finally discovered that, for instance, there's lots of different types of apples, maybe 50 or 60 different types of apples, slightly different. They're all pretty much round. They're all pretty much red. Some of them are yellow. Potatoes, the same. They're big, small, round. A couple of dozen types of potatoes. Anyway, of chilies, I've read somewhere there's between 3,000 and 4,000 different types of chilies. They are every size, from just the size of a BB up to the size of a, what's that size of? A small pumpkin. They're every shape, long and skinny, round, oval. They're even square. I used to say they're every shape except square, but no, there's the, I used to grow them. Of course, it's not square like a square chicken egg, like a plain awful, but it's got the cross section is perfectly square because it's got 4 ribs that stick out. So it's pointed at the top and bottom, but if you cut it in half, it's square. And they're every possible color of the rainbow except blue, because there is no blue food. And if anybody's watching and they want to challenge me on that, I welcome it, because I'd like to discover blue food. People say, blueberries. No, the blueberry is purple. The skin is blue, and you can't digest the skin. People say, oh, blue Indian corn. Same thing. The skin is blue. But seriously, if anybody knows any blue food that's not been dyed, let me know. Blue, natural food. So I just slowly discovered chili on my own. I didn't know anybody who introduced it to me. I just found out about it, and then learned how easy they are to grow, and how much I like them. I don't grow as many as I used to, as I think I've explained several times on the Facebook page. I used to carry like 20 kilograms of them to Europe in one giant suitcase, and then struggle with a 2-week tour trying to keep them fresh and airing them out every day. And I suspected that was a grotesque violation of international law. But for some reason, Europe, especially Scandinavian nations, Central Europe, they don't seem to care about what you're smuggling in the way Americans do. America, you have to sign documents that say you haven't, you don't have any of these things in your baggage. You haven't been on a farm. You haven't touched a cow. You haven't smelled a pig. But Europe, they just say, come on in. And they've got the duty or the tariff, what do you call it, to pay customs.
Customs.
Yeah, and there's nobody ever there. They're always closed. So I would just bring the chilies in big suitcases full. And I finally stopped that for 2 reasons. It was a lot of fun for 20 years or more, but it was a lot of work. And then I think it was when I made a trip to Italy about 2 years ago that I started to think harder about it. Italians, I love Italians, I'm Italian, but they have a very officious government. They're going to stick to the rules more than other countries, I think. And I started to be naturally afraid that if they did search my luggage and I had like 20 kilograms of illegal biological plants that I'm not supposed to have, well, first of all, I'd lose my entire crop for the entire year of chilies, which I would naturally take to Europe. I might have to pay a fine, a gigantic fine, and I might be incarcerated and not be able to come home. So I decided to stop that. And I might have kept taking a small bag of them to American conventions just to give to a few friends, but or just have something interesting, something else interesting on my table. But of course, nowadays with the pandemic, the problem with that, people would see these beautiful chilies sitting there, and they're so gorgeous. Like I was saying, all those different colors and shapes and sizes. People would always touch them and think that they're there for them to handle and look at like toys. And I'd always have to say, no, you've touched it, now it's food. Now you have to take it, whether you want it or not. And now that's even worse. I can't have something that's, of course, food, a type of food stuff that people might handle on my table. So that's asking for a lot of trouble. So maybe in another year, I might bring, I'm not growing nearly as many in the garden as I used to. So that's, I won't be doing that too much anymore. Okay.
Okay, somebody is asking about the little Funko Pop Don Rosa we saw in the preview image for the stream. That was something you got in France, right?
Something what?
You got in France during the signing.
Oh, no, you know more about it. Just ask Yano these questions. Yeah, I got it in Europe. Somebody was nice enough to buy one of these little blank kits that you can customize and anybody you want it to be. Unfortunately, I think these things are made for superheroes or something. I'm standing here like, but he made it into a little mini Don Rosa, and it's not nearly as creepy as that stuffed Don Rosa with the actual photographic face that you know the one I'm talking about.
Yes.
Errol, you know. But it's up on the library on a shelf. I've got 2 or 3 of those different type. When I was in Greece once, somebody gave me a Greek military guard doll that he'd taken the head off and sculpted one of my own. I was gonna show you the Don Rosa head on the Yukon Scrooge body that used to be sitting over here. That's why I looked, but now that's up in the studio. So that's I can't tell you the name of the person who gave that to me. That's lost to posterity. It's
By the way, I saw some comments from people from all over the world. I think this time more than usual. So let's just ask the people where they are coming from. I saw comments from Greece, from Romania, from South Korea this time. I think we didn't have someone from South Korea before. So where are you all tuning in today from? I saw Germany, I saw Sweden, I saw Finland, but are there some more exotic places? And in the meantime, some other question from a couple of different people. I don't know why, but if you do read any manga, because you watch anime, and have you ever read any manga too?
I don't watch anime. Who said I watched anime?
Yeah, you watched Miyazaki.
Miyazaki. That's not anime, is it? That's Miyazaki. That's the real goods. That's not some strange kind of. That's Japanese animation. Is all Japanese animation anime? I thought that was like the TV stuff. I thought anime was the cheap version of Japanese animation. Anyway, the only Japanese animation I watch or see is Miyazaki. And then, of course, I don't read manga. I don't understand it. It's a different language. You have to read it when you're a kid. And, of course, it's been published in America long enough that people have been able to read it as children and grown up with it. But I don't care for it. But look at me. I don't even like music of my own generation. You saw what I also do is music from the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
We have I'm just making the quick survey of people where they're coming from. We have France, Serbia, Norway, Finland, Denmark, lots of Norway, Spain, Poland, Serbia, Miami, Florida, Italy, Slovenia,
You gave
Georgia,
status of a whole nation. That's nice of you.
China, but they are currently living in Singapore. Yeah, that's pretty nice that we have so many different people from all over the world. Okay, so
seems like I'm not getting many questions. I think my answers are, as always, too long. I think I've only answered 3 questions, so go ahead. You're choosing the question.
Yeah, I'm browsing through the list at the moment because now we have lots of I'm from there and there comments in the group.
You need like 2 or 3 people working with you. One person doing that, one person picking out the.
Okay, we have some comments for the blue food because somebody is asking what's your definition of food. There are several edible flowers,
things that you can digest. Blue flowers. That's not really. That's something people eat for fun. I mean, I've had what's the plant that frequently? Where's my wife? Yeah. I mean, things like people mention blueberries, and corn, but flowers. Of course, there's blue flowers, and you can put one in your mouth and eat it and swallow it. But I don't think flowers are food. Mushrooms. I'll bet there's a blue mushroom. And I would, mushrooms are more like food. I mean, I love mushrooms. In fact, we had, I never did get around to posting some photographs of mushrooms that I found in the yard. And I haven't told this story, and of course I'm wasting time now because I don't have an example of it to show. So I'll be brief. My wife was walking along the driveway, it's already been a month ago or so, and off in the woods, not next to the driveway, but off in the woods, some distant, 20 or 30 feet, she saw something white, big and white, and went down there in the woods, and it was a large cluster of fungus. Anyway, we took photographs of it and identified it as chicken of the woods. So I'd be curious to know if this is a popular mushroom for mushroom eaters in Europe. I think it is. We read about it, and then we dug it all up and chopped it up and froze part of it and put part of it in the refrigerator. I mean, there's loads of it. This was a mound of this stuff about that big around. Chicken of the woods, it has the texture of chicken. It's kind of fibrous. It's white, first of all. It's kind of fibrous texture, about the same weight as a little piece of chicken, and it tastes like chicken. You cook it, you saute it, and it tastes like chicken. That's why it's called chicken of the woods. I think hen of the woods is another name. So I'm curious if anybody eats this, but we can save that for the Facebook page, because then I'm going to post a photograph of our big chicken of the woods cluster. But I think finally we saved what we froze, because it's already frozen. We threw away what we refrigerated, because you eat it and you're amazed at first, it tastes like chicken. It does, it tastes like chicken. And then you start thinking, well, it tastes like not very good chicken. And then you start, and then the next thing you start thinking is, well, it tastes like a fake chicken soy substitute, maybe. And then you finally realize, this was really interesting, but I don't need to eat any more of this. Now, if I was backpacking and I found some of the woods, well, that'd be a lot of fun. You know, it'd make actually food that we need for that evening. But to eat it around the house, it's fun to do once. And we'll do it again someday. We put it in the freezer. And I actually, after I made my decision, I went out and put another label on the freezer bags of the chicken of the woods saying, not as bad as you remember it, because I do want to eat some more sometime.
Okay, somebody's asking if the deer family in your yard is still visiting.
Is what?
The deer family, is it still there? Does it still live there?
They're getting scarce now because the fawns can leap the fence and they're wandering off, and the neighbors are going to shoot them. So they don't stay here, and I haven't seen them in maybe 2 days. I put the corn out, and sometimes it disappears in the middle of the night, and sometimes it doesn't. If I don't even have the deer bell out there right now because the grass is tall and it was windy yesterday, which means the deer bell, it's a motion detector that's sitting on the ground pointed at the deer feeder. And if the grass is tall, the deer bell goes off like once every 3 seconds. So I had to get it out of the grass until I cut the grass, which I have to do at 3 o'clock today, right after we're done. But I don't see them as much anymore. But I'd love to be able to, if I do, I can see part of the lawn. And if I see them walking across, I'll carry the laptop over there and take a picture of them. But thank you for asking about my deer family, Deirdre and her 3 fawns.
Okay, somebody is asking about the Shoeshine Boy figurine we saw. Is that the prototype of the new figurine from Stefan?
Yes, it is. And that wasn't it. This is the prototype. And I think it's excellent. Whoops. It's very lightweight. This is a computer printout, right? The computers print out 3-dimensional things. I think I was born yesterday. What nonsense. You know that's impossible. Obviously not painted. That's why he doesn't have any eyeballs. And yes, as Yano was upset to find out that that's not the size of an actual dime. That's about the size of a Oreo cookie. But if it was the size of an actual dime, it would be as big as his thumbnail, which he doesn't have. But you wouldn't see anything. It would be silly. So, and there he is upside down. I think it's perfect in every way, and show you the. It's already got the words on the shoeshine box, which will be painted also. But look at the detail. See the open cans of shoe polish and the rags and the brush and little pieces of mud that came off the ditch digger's boots. Pretty cool. I think this is. I wish I could rattle off his name, but now that Stefan, I think I found the fella, is a European, Scandinavian guy who came to me at an American convention, who was an expert in computer design and 3D modeling. And now that we have that bit of assistance close at hand, we don't have to rely on people Stefan found in Thailand or China to do that very important part of the job. They just do the manufacturing over there. But the design work now is all done either in Europe or America, wherever that nice fellow is living these days. I don't know if he was visiting America or going to school here or if he's moved here. Now, this I don't know anything about. This is nicely modeled also with the cheese and the very nice. But we're not selling those. But that's actual size. That's the actual size of a White Castle hamburger. Maybe a little tiny. See, you can do it in about 3 bites. Now I've got given myself a yen for a White Castle hamburger. There's no blue White Castles either. But blue mushrooms, is that how we got on mushrooms? I don't know. Did somebody come up with any blue food besides flowers? I don't think that's flowers aren't.
I think I saw a comment talking about some sort of fish that is blue inside.
Not the meat, not the insides. The flesh of the fish is blue.
I think so.
Okay, well, I'll have to check that. Okay. Go to Google right after we're done. And,
okay, somebody's asking.
Fish with blue flesh. Fish with blue flesh. Fish with blue flesh. Yes. Okay.
Next question.
I should drink some more. Yeah.
Somebody's asking if you ever miss writing and drawing stories at all.
Not a bit. No, never, ever, ever, never. Absolutely. And give me a chance to reiterate. People still say, "Oh, someday he's going to write and draw a new story." No, don't even think about it. It's not going to happen. You'll just make yourself unhappy. No, I don't miss it at all because it's strange that I say that. It's what I lived for. It's what I spent my childhood doing nothing else. Everybody else was out playing baseball or basketball, or of course I wouldn't be doing that because I lived out in the woods and there wasn't any place to go to do things like that. If I wasn't reading comics or watching old movies on television, I was creating comic books because it was in me and it had to come out. Well, it all came out and I'm finished. So that's an easy answer. Give me a couple.
Okay, then we had a question about when, where, and when the Shoeshine Boy can be ordered, but we don't know yet because at the moment, I think Don froze. Don? Ah, no, that here he is again. You froze for a moment. No, but we are currently having some trouble with Disney approving the figurine because they are not able to find that exact pose in the comics, and they don't know where that pose come from, and so they don't know if it's really their character or whatever, or if it's ripped off from somewhere. And
What?
yes.
What? It has to be
Yes.
exactly identical to a pose they see in the comic? Okay. All right, let's look at that. Let's see if you make sense out of that. So what if they looked long enough and they found that exact pose? It would be okay, but uh-oh, wait a minute. Oh, but they never found that pose.
Yeah.
It's a three-dimensional thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and
Don't get me started
well,
on Disney.
yeah, but we'll
I didn't
hope
even
they
know
can
that.
figure
That's
it
news
out.
to
And
me. They're not sure who it is. They've got it in their new DuckTales TV show. Isn't that good enough for them?
oh
All
well,
right.
oh well. Who knows? Who knows what's going on?
You
But
can't.
we
That's
hope it will get.
okay. Listen to this, folks. That's one of the reasons. Well, generally or tangentially, why I don't miss writing and drawing comics, because Disney very rarely got involved. Well, actually, I can say they never interfered with anything I did because I didn't work for them. I was working for Egmont or Gladstone, and those are licensed publishers. Disney did interfere with my work in 1989, so I quit and went to work for Europe. Disney knows better not to interfere with Egmont because Egmont makes them big loads of money that they don't have to lift a finger to earn. So they never interfered with anything I did at Egmont. And Byron Erickson worked with me so easily. I never felt like we had any problems producing nice stories. But it's that sort of idiotic bureaucracy with people in charge of creative endeavors who have no business being in charge of them. Anyway, that sort of answers the question why I don't miss doing those comics any longer. Just because I know that's going on. I know nowadays they're having trouble. I think Disney is interfering with Egmont, and especially with the Italian publisher and other publishers. I'm just glad I'm not mixed up in that anymore because I'd be really unhappy. So that's probably a reason why I'm glad I'm not involved anymore. But I didn't know. I didn't even know that they were. Stefan was having trouble getting approval. That he's having trouble getting approval for such stupid reasons is not surprising. Well, yeah, I'm here.
Anyway, I see that the first hour has passed now, so should we move on to an exclusive first look at the big fat Life and Times book, maybe?
Okay, let's see. You clear Scrooge out of the way here and my glass of water. And I'll push. Oh, you know what I never did? I never plugged the TV back in, the laptop back in. That will interfere with whether we go out. Let me just check the battery. 71%. Well, we can still go outside. Anyway, now, the big book. Ooh. Oops. Here's the box of the big book. It's a big box. The big book's in a big box. Here's the front. Okay. Now, I'm going to put the box on the floor. It's so big. Boom. Open it. Now, I'm going to pick up the camera, all right? That's why it's rising into the air. The cord is slightly twisted. Let me spin you around and get the, I don't think it's coming out. Okay. Gotta tighten the camera again. So there's what it looks like in its home. All right. This is not something I do very often, so I'm gotta tighten that camera so it still rotates on me. All right, now I'm going to set the camera here for a second. I'm going to get the big book out. Gently, gently. This is a hard book to handle. All right, let's see. That's kind of fun. I'm going to damage my book. So I got to turn it a little bit. You're going to get all sorts of reflection because this is very shiny. Closer. The Complete Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. Oh, and on the slipcase, I suggested they put my lovely autograph someplace on the book, so it's on the slipcase. So you can see it. What I think is interesting is Walt Disney, you can't even see. It's white on white. There's the spine of the lovely book. I hadn't noticed that. Is that the Fantagraphics colophon, I think that's called. There's the back of the lovely book slipcase. This is a Picsou pinup that I did. I just assume you're familiar with the Picsou pinups. I would do them, which would be a pinup, not a cover scene, but a pinup, meaning to cover the entire page, based on a Bark story that they were reprinting, or one of my stories they were reprinting. And in this case, it was a series of Bark stories. So I did scenes from the various stories, and I mixed them with scenes from the life of Scrooge. But some of the coins had dates that pertained to the story that Picsou was using in that issue, so that they'd have nothing to do with the life of Scrooge. So when David Gerstein and I redesigned this pinup, we replaced all of those references to Bark stories that had nothing to do with the life of Scrooge with life of Scrooge scenes. All right, let's now take the book out of the big box. And then I'll pick the camera up and I'll stand up so I can make sure we're getting a good shot of it. Bear with me while I, it's very shiny. That's why the chandelier here is showing up. Very gold.
Somebody's asking how it compares in size to the artist's edition. It's a bit smaller, right?
A little bit smaller, yeah. Artist edition might be not that much bigger. There's the, what do you call the fly leaves? Title page. Did I skip one? Yes, I skipped one. The autograph page. I think I've already, as some people know, the first person who brings me a new book that I haven't signed before, I make a big production out of writing first copy ever signed, or for the person's name, for blank, first copy ever signed, one of one. But they are going to have me sign some of these in a live stream for a company that's going to be selling some copies with book plates in them that I have to sign. And I told them I can't do that until I've signed one for the publisher. So they're going to have to send me an extra one so that I can legitimately write first copy ever signed for Gary Groth. So there's all the, okay, of course I'm not going to flip through the whole thing, but show you Open to tell Yano. Tell me if this looks okay. Of course, I'm looking at the screen too. Lots of nice graphics, nice fonts. There's that piece of artwork just sold a couple of weeks ago. Now let's see. Skip ahead. Oh, here's Last of the Clan McDuck. No, there's the second version of the cover. That's the actual artwork. And now this is lost. That was, I just don't remember. There were two versions, and I can't remember. I think this is the artwork that was sold. So that's the actual version. I think this is a version that I doctored myself, because that's my drawing of flames. So this art, doesn't exist, except maybe someplace as a photo, a copy with some extra artwork added. All right, let's see. So, why am I turning to these key pages? Just by chance? All right. I got to look at the screen every once in a while, make sure the camera's pointed. All right. If anybody wants to see anything in particular, they should tell you, Yano.
Somebody's asking if there are new insights and thoughts by yourself in the book.
No, there are no new texts. There's a new feature, and I don't remember if I wrote a text for that feature. I don't think so. But there's new illustrations. There's new things that David added. There's more corrections, and so let's see. This is the last of the Prisoner of White Agony Creek is the last installment officially of The Life of Scrooge, and it's also the last story that I'll ever create. So here's the end of The Life of Scrooge. Oh, and here's some extra pages. Now we're doing stories related to The Life of Scrooge. Last Led to Dawson. Yeah. Of Ducks and Dimes and Destinies. I think these stories were also in the Fantagraphics 2-book box set a couple of years ago, but without the texts. Here's The Dream of a Lifetime, and here is A Letter from Home, which some people, and this is included because fans had been saying that that it felt to them like this was the last chapter of The Life of Scrooge. So I thought that was very perceptive. So I always have that. Here's 2 extra pages. Now, here's a completely new feature, which is just interesting. It's not part of a story, but I suggested, okay, so I wrote a little text here. I suggested, because I had so many copies of international publications of The Life of Scrooge, that they make a feature with all the covers. So that's what this is. All in alphabetical order. Up there at the top is the Brazilian. There in the second row is Chinese. There at the bottom is, I'm not going to name them all anyway. And that goes on for, see, these are all full-fledged Life of Scrooge editions of the last 30 years from around the world. Ending with the last page, almost all of the last page, is the United States. I was going to leave out the Boom editions, but I figured, then the whole article would be incomplete, because I don't like those people and I don't like their editions. So anyway, let's see. I'm trying to turn the page without tearing it. Can't. There we go. Here's some acknowledgments. There's pictures of the 2 or the 3 figurines. Anyway, and there's a different flyleaf and the back cover. So, okay, anybody, let's take any other questions about this while we're on the subject, while I try to get this camera back in the right position.
Okay, somebody's interested about the paper stock. I think it's more of a photographic paper than the offset paper that was used before, is it?
I don't know much about paper. It's nice, slick, thick paper. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that. And I got her. Go ahead and ask me questions while I'm readjusting my camera.
Okay, some more questions, anybody?
Yeah.
Let me see. Do you have a favorite chapter of the Life and Times?
I always liked the invader of Fort Duckburg. It all happened in one day. It wasn't spanning a long period of time. And I thought it was really funny. We're talking about the first 12 chapters. If I got that camera's, well, that's good enough. Yeah, I can't enjoy myself if it's not straight. 2.5 panes, 2.5 panes. But if you included all of those B chapters, then The Prisoner of White Agony Creek would be my favorite. So much so that that's one of the reasons I quit. I don't think I would ever be able to create another story that I personally liked so much as I liked that story. So I figured, well, good time to stop.
Okay, somebody's asking if there was actually a coin in the slipcase.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure if I've taken my coin out yet. Okay, yeah, good question. I'm glad you asked that, and I'll show it to you. Oof. So it's much bigger than a regular dime, Yano. Okay, this is, and unlike the Hachette, I'm looking over here to see what I look like holding. The Hachette was very nice. They had the idea first, but their coin was like a toy. It had a funny duck face, and it said the state of Calisota instead of the United States. So, and it was an excellent idea. And this one's just, and they did it first, but this one's a little better, I think. Now, can you see? It's not focusing, is it? Huh?
It's a bit blurry. Now we see it, yes.
See, that's all legitimate, just like an 1875 dime, aside from being bigger. But I, at the last moment, actually caused them some problems. They were going to duplicate the Glenah. Was I saying Hachette? What a terrible mistake. It was Glenah, not Hachette, who did the coin. God, I apologize to Glenah. They had that wacky duck face on there. So I said, no, it should be a very dignified Lady Liberty. So now they have, and it should be a profile. But I think there's also duck feet right there. And then the other side is every bit legitimate. Let it focus, yeah. Just like an actual 1875 dime, except it's got a Disney copyright on it. They insisted on that. There it is, under my finger in just the right spot. Can you believe that they insisted on having their trademark on that? Like they even want to copyright an American dime. And it's got this, what is that, Sacramento S mint mark, because that's where the I'm thinking of too many names now. Well, who's the character that the old 49er? He was from California, so I had him. He lived in California, so I figured that's where he would have gotten a California mint mark, 1875 dime, to take over to give to so Screech could get it. Yes, thank you for reminding me about the dime, about the fake dime, and it fits very nicely into the cover. It's got a recess with a little round hole in the back of the recess, so you can reach your finger inside the box and push just a little bit and pop it out. But yeah, I guess I should show you. So that's how it sits. Like that.
Okay, we got several questions.
Yeah.
If it will be English only or also in like Norwegian or other
English,
languages.
of course, English. There's just one edition. Well, Egmont could do their own version. I don't know what's on their mind. That's a pretty expensive book. I don't know if it would sell. And this is being sold to collectors. It's not. And you'll notice I'm never going to say, oh, everybody's got to have a copy of this book. You got to rush right out and get it. No, this is for collectors. I'm not going to recommend you buy the book. I'm going to tell you it's a nice book. People put a lot of work into it, but there's practically nothing in there story-wise or art-wise that you don't already have in another edition. This is just for collectors. And collectors who have $250 or $150 or however, what kind of a deal you work out, that they don't need or that they'd rather have a book of in place of. But it's just a really nice collector's item. And it's really difficult for them to produce a book that big. You can make as collector's items, making statues in one size or another. I don't know if that's any more difficult. But publishing books, when you start to get of a certain page count or a certain dimension horizontally, vertically, if the book was standing on its end, or horizontally, width, I should say. I understand that width, because you're getting further away from the spine, that really runs the cost up of a book. This one's still, the spine is on the shorter edge. Anyway, it's expensive. It's really expensive to produce a really big dimensioned, thick book with nice paper. So I don't know if Egmont would ever do that. I hope they would. I'd let them, of course.
Okay, now maybe for the last part of the stream, should we maybe go out on the porch as you suggested, or is it not good weather now?
No, it's nice weather. It might be too hot. I don't know how much. Oh no, it's not that much time. I think it would just go out there, and it was my idea. So I suggested it to Yano, but now it's only just over a half hour, 36 minutes. And as soon as we get out there, I'll find a reason why it's not going to work. There's going to be reflections on something, or do people really care? I think it'd be better off in here. It's a nice backdrop. I don't feel like I've answered many questions. I don't think I've answered a single question about but Yano's choosing the questions. I mean, he knows he's asking me things that I'll give nice, peppy, funny answers to, and not things like describe how you create a story, which is a legitimate question, but it's really boring.
Okay, no,
seriously, Yano has got the hard job here. This is easy for me. I'm just talking. I'm just spouting. He has to read all those questions. He has to decide which ones I can give a better answer to. He's got to, and while he's doing that, he's got to listen to what's going on. I don't know how he does it by himself.
Here, somebody is asking if the other stories are also be collected in such a big format at some point.
The other stories?
Yeah, the not the Life and Times,
You
but
mean
your
like
other stories.
The whole Don Rosa library?
Yes.
I don't think so. I'm not going to suggest it. I don't think it needs to be. This is just some very popular series that I stumbled into doing. I don't think so. But that's up to publishers. That's not up to me. If they think they can sell it, I think it'd be kind of risky. I wouldn't wait for it. Let me put it that way.
Okay, and somebody else is asking, which was the most difficult chapter of the Life and Times to write? Was there one specific difficult one?
You should have asked me that 25 years ago. Seems like the second to the last one. What was the name of that? The Empire Builder from Calisota. I think it went by two different names. The one that spanned like from 1900 to 1930. Seems like that was more difficult. Difficult to tell a story that held together and was funny and made sense, but covered 30 years in the Duck's life. In the back of my mind, it seems like that one was pretty tough. I know that when I rewrote, maybe I should say that, the one that I rewrote the most was The King of the Klondike, one of the key chapters. And Byron wisely threw out almost the entire plot to the story. We kept the beginning and the ending, where he starts as a sourdough, a gold miner, and then at the end of the story, he finds his goose egg nugget. But in the middle, I had a story all about Scrooge and Grandma Duck, who I had running a hash house in Dawson, and her family that you meet in the later chapter. And it was a throwback to Desperate Rides Again with Jimmy Stewart and Marlene Dietrich, another classic movie that everybody watching this should have seen by now. And he said, this is a nice story, but it's about like a bunch of friends. And he said, this time in Scrooge's life should be the most difficult, heartrending part of his life. He said, you missed it. You start over again. And I did. And that you saw what you got. The death of his mother and tearing apart the riverboat, maybe, and as legend has it. So that was, but that was just having to do it over again. And like I say, Byron was always right that that story still exists. Now that is something that we could have put in this book. That is something that we could have added into this book. We could have put in all of the Life of Scrooge storyboard pages, which means you'd see the original versions of the stories like that one, and at least two other ones. And you'd see just how I create the story, what it looks like in my storyboard scripts. I've already written the script, and then I have to put it into like a life-size page drawn freehand, the size of a comic book. It's on 8.5 by 11 copy paper, which you call now. In those days, we still called it typewriter paper. And I'd like make a miniature mock-up comic book page with the artwork, with the drawings and the dialogue. And that's how I would present my story to Byron or whoever the editor is, which is always Byron. We could have put all of that in this book. But then Disney would not allow, Disney in America would not allow that to be published under my ownership or our joint ownership. Just like Egmont can publish my fan art, can publish scripts like that. And in Europe, Egmont can work out a deal with Disney, or at least they did some years ago, where I would still own the material and it could not be used by any other publisher without my consent. And of course not without Disney's consent, but it had to be joint consent. But if we had put any of that in this book, all of that work, which is still my property, would become Disney property just automatically, without them paying me a penny, which they've never paid me a penny anyway, but without anybody paying me a penny, it would, and they insisted on that. So that book could have been even thicker and would have had a lot of stuff. That's the stuff that they were putting in the IDW books. And no, I still don't know why haven't been the second and third editions of the IDW Life of Scrooge Artist Edition. I don't know. I suspect I know, is because they found out that most of their buyers were in Europe, but Disney will not allow them to sell books outside of North America. So they were cutting off their biggest market. Now, Fantagraphics has that same problem, but they're still willing to try to work around it.
By the way, I just see on the screen that the focus didn't shift back. Can you try to go further to the camera again and move back a bit slowly so we have you back in focus? Ah, yeah. And now go slowly back.
Slowly. You tell me I'm too far away from the laptop.
Yes, yeah. Now it's perfect. Now it's perfect.
Really? So it doesn't adjust itself, huh?
No, it does, but you moved away the book.
I moved too fast.
Too fast, so.
Good safety tip, Egon. Thanks.
Okay, now, okay, here's a random question. Any thoughts on sodas? And if so, which one is your favorite?
Sodas?
Yeah.
Drink?
Yeah.
In Kentucky, we call those soft drinks.
Soft drinks, pops.
Yeah, in other parts of America, they call them sodas. In parts of America, they call them pops. In Kentucky, it's called soft drinks. Why would they ask that? I don't drink that stuff. I don't drink, what's that? Fizzy? What is that? Phosphate? What's the expression?
Carbonated.
Carbonated, right. Thank you. I don't enjoy carbonation in my drink. But the only soft drink that I do enjoy is Werner's ginger ale. Not Canada Dry ginger ale or any other kind of ginger ale that you've ever tried. The original ginger ale is Werner's, except no other brand. Werner's ginger ale, if I ever want to have a soft drink, which might be if I'm eating a pizza, I don't know when I want a soft drink. A pizza, maybe, on a hot day, I'll drink a soft drink. But it's always a Werner's, nothing else. Why does somebody want to know that? All right.
Because we were asking for more questions. How do you imagine Scrooge's speaking voice to be? Like a normal human voice, or more like Don's classic cartoon voice, or something else?
It's, of course, nothing like the Disney Donald Duck cartoon voice. Absolutely not. Barks' characters are human beings, and they talk like human beings. Anybody who reads Barks knows that that's not the Disney Donald Duck quacking voice. He's not a duck. He's a human being drawn in a particular way. I think he's got a vague Scottish accent. I don't think it's heavy. I don't know, but that's easy. He's I've never heard any. Probably like Sean Connery. How's that? I like Alan Young. I admire Alan Young. I love his he made one movie at least, the Time Machine. He used to have a really bad radio show back in the late 40s, but I really love Alan Young. The DuckTales voices or the Mickey's Christmas Carol. It was very nice, but it's just not the one I prefer. Sean Connery, I think. It's kind of deep for such a little guy, though. I never thought about it. I'll take suggestions. Somebody sent in a suggestion for the voice of Scrooge McDuck, as long as it's not Alan Young or the guy who did it in the new show. It has to be somebody else. And it has to be an old actor, because if you name a new actor, I won't have the slightest idea who you're talking about, and I won't be able to offer an opinion.
Okay. Here's another question. What is the most interesting thing you have had to cut from your story because it did not fit right in, or because the editor thought it wouldn't really fit? But what would have been a interesting part?
That's a great question. There's a thing that I cut out, uh, was the hint of where the Huey, Dewey, and Louie's parents are. And that's been covered in the Don Rosa Library in Fantagraphics, probably in the first volume or maybe the second volume. And I'm not going to talk about it now. I always refuse to talk about that because it's right there. The page that was deleted is there, and you should read it for yourself and decide for yourself what I was hinting at. That's the same thing if people want to ask me, what was in the letter that Goldie sent to Scrooge that he never read and threw in the snow? I'm not going to tell you what's in that letter. You've got to decide for yourself what was in that letter. And I think it's pretty obvious what I thought was in the letter, but I'm just, that's too, it's too blatant. I'm not going to tell you something I think you should sense for yourself. Or what happened in the cabin in The Prisoner at White Agony Creek when it got quiet. You know what happened in that cabin. I don't have to tell you. Okay, what next? And no more soft drink questions. You can, if you're scared to get a question about, how do you tell me how to draw Donald Duck or something? I'd rather have that than a soft drink question.
Let me just check here.
Of course, I like chili questions, and I like movie questions, and I just don't like soft drinks. See, I don't like talking about something that doesn't interest me. That's natural.
Here is somebody asking, was the story about the Karl Barks signature on the bank check in Life of Times already told? But it's just something you randomly slipped in there, right?
Yeah. I can't remember. I guess I copied a Barks signature, not the one that he signs his artwork with. I never liked that signature. It's got the B has a little stripe on it, and I think the C has a little stripe. I don't know what he was thinking. That doesn't look, but just his normal autograph, I guess. When he signed autograph, I copied that from something I had in I guess I do have his autograph on a drawing, and it was his normal autograph. So maybe I looked at the drawing that he sent me back in the 70s, and I put that on there. And that's how they used it in the Gladstone comic. But then, kind of surprising, in the when Gemstone redid that chapter in the Life of Scrooge book, didn't they replace it with Steve Geppe's autograph?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I never asked Steve Geppe why he did that. He's certainly a Karl Barks fan. Maybe Karl Barks didn't like My Life of Scrooge, or he told that to Geppe, and he told Geppe to take it out. I don't think Barks would have done that. So somebody was asking if the story's been told. What story? Maybe I've told the story before and I've forgotten it.
Wasn't Barks already dead when the Gemstone edition came out? That was like in 2005 or so. So we don't know what happened.
You're right. So I don't know why he did that.
Okay, here's another question that has popped up sometime. You mentioned that you want to donate part of the income from the Life and Times pages to animal charities. Do you have any favorite animal charities? What are they?
No, no favorites. I need to do research into this. What I mentioned was that they're selling finally the Life of Scrooge artwork. Heritage is selling that gradually. It's going to take years, but I noticed that it's more money than I have any use for, which is a silly thing to say, but I've just got everything I want. There's nothing. I try to decide. Well, if you had a lot of money, what would you buy? Oh, a vacation home. I live in a vacation home. I don't need another. I'd buy a yacht. I don't want a yacht. Oh, it's a lot of trouble. Uh, Antique cars. Oh, I've got 2 lovely antique cars. It didn't cost me any money. And, so I'm going to. The problem that we both have is, well, it's not a problem that we don't have families, but and we don't have any kids. But that would become a difficulty when we get along in years, like 90 years old or something, when you need somebody to look after you. So I think I need to save that money for a time when living in some sort of a caregiving institution. It's going to be needed if I want to have a nice old age. But the point is that there's going to be at some point that money is going to be have to be donated somewhere. I don't believe in relatives inheriting money. I don't think that's right. People should only get money that they worked for. So I want to make sure my will donates whatever's left to animal charities. But I've yet to do really good research on the best ones. I think each year I just donate some thousands of dollars, a few $1,000s, and just in recent years, because I've never had much money. In recent years, I've had some extra money. It's not a lot of money, it's just a little extra. Just the basic ones, ASPCA, American Association for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, World Wildlife Fund, just the basic ones you hear about all the time. And I'm not sure if those aren't the best ones. I'd be glad to listen to other people's ideas, because like I say, I've yet to done any serious research into, trying to find the ones that most of the money you donate goes to help the animals. Just like other charities, you want to make sure the money, most of it goes to help people, and not paying the salaries of big shots who are paid a lot, just figureheads of the company. You know what they. And make sure they're legitimate charities, which is also a problem. All right.
Okay, I just want to address.
I need to stop talking, and because Yano is reading questions, and he knows if he hears me stop talking, then he has to offer the next question.
I just want to quickly address some questions here that people can look up in one of the last live streams, so we don't have to talk about them again. Because here's one question: if you've listened to the Tuamas's Life and Times album, of course you have, and you offered your opinion in the library live stream.
Why did somebody? Do you ever wonder why people on the Facebook page post things like that? Somebody today or yesterday posted that the music video for the Life of Scrooge, Thomas Holopainen's music video. Why would they do that? Don't they think we've seen it? Did they think the Don Rosa Facebook page is not aware of that? That I'm not aware of it? Well, it's nice. It's something. I guess we need some interesting stuff posted now and then. If you leave it to me, I'm just going to post pictures of deer, or mushrooms, or chilies. So.
And right above that question was also another one that has been answered in one of the previous streams. I think it was in the very first stream. That is, if you've ever met Carl Barks, and yeah. So people can look that up if they go to YouTube or Facebook and watch the recording of the first live stream. Okay, here's a new question. Don Rosa has said that he loves old movies, but what do you consider to be an old movie? Would Barry Lyndon count, or maybe Lawrence of Arabia?
Let's see. Barry Lyndon. I know what movie that is. I've never considered that a very interesting movie. No, to me, old movies are pre-1965. That's when movies started to go downhill. Between 1965 and 1975, was hardly a movie made that I liked. There were a handful I really liked. I mean, that's just off the top of my head was When the Man Who Would Be King was made, and a number of others. But and then there have been lots of very interesting movies since 1975, but they don't have the heart. They don't have the spirit. They don't have the narrative quality. They don't have the. They weren't done for the same reasons that movies pre-1965. I even have always thought that 1965 was like the last year of lots of great movies. And I noticed recently, well, maybe in the last 5 years or so, Leonard Maltin, who is very well known in America for publishing books about old movies, he finally broke his movies on TV book into 2 volumes because it was getting too thick if you included every movie ever made since about 1930, including lots of silent movies. He broke them into 2 volumes. There's one volume is the modern movies, but the classic volume is movies up to 1965. Coincidence? I think not. So to me, an old movie is pre-1965, and that's not the, well, that's a classic movie. That's a good movie. An old movie, 1965, doesn't really seem that long ago to me. But yeah, I'd say 1965 and back is an old movie.
Then we have a question here. What is your favorite comic book writer besides Sparks?
There's John Stanley. There's Will Eisner. There's Walt Kelly. I'm just thinking of my favorite comics. There's all the EC writers. What are my favorite comics? Europeans. I don't see too many. I see the most obvious writers. Goscinny and Uderzo. Which one's the writer?
Goscinny.
So what are some other comic books I've spoken about that I liked? I love old Superman comics. I'm not sure who some of the writers of those were. They never gave them credit. I recognize the artists like Kurt Swan and Kurt Schaffenberger and Wayne Boring. Let's see, other old favorite comics. Of course, we're talking about writers. There's lots of artists I like, and the stories might not. But John Stanley, those are my favorite comics. Anything that I've that I like that I didn't just mention? Yano knows more about me than he sat through me answering questions for so many years.
Maybe some comics.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Don't move. Brownie. Where's Brownie? Brownie, come here. Come here, Brownie. Come here. Hurry. There was a dog at the door. You wanted to see the dogs, right? I can't pick you up. Here's Sookie. Here's Sookie. Yeah. Oh, getting excited now. Okay, Brownie, come here. Brownie, they got to fight. Come here, Brownie. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. No, don't lay down. Come here. There you go. There's Brownie. There's Sookie. Don't smell Brownie there. It's not polite. Look at the TV. Trying to get down. Okay, you want to see the dogs. There they are. Okay, everybody out. Out. Everybody get. All right, you saw the dogs. They're out. You should see them now. They're running and fighting. They're wild. Our very best dog, Leo, died, or we had to put him down 2 months ago. He just got really sick. We've had enough dogs now that it's getting easier when a dog gets that old and that miserable, and you know the dog is suffering. So we just took him and added. That used to be really tough. Now it's really not so tough because you know you're doing the dog a favor. but he was our best basset hound ever. He was our best dog. And I'm right now thinking, first of the year, I want to get 2 more basset puppies. I need to start looking.
Okay, we have another film question. It's actually from your friend Gary from Fantagraphics. He's saying, Don's movie cutoff is 1965, but what does Don think of the rise of indie filmmaking in the late 60s and 70s when American filmmakers liberated themselves from the studio system and starting doing more personal films with more radial or experimental filmmaking techniques?
I didn't care for it.
Not at all.
I'm wondering, I doubt if he, no, I don't think so. I like old-fashioned movies. I like old-fashioned comics. I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. Got the dogs so wound up, they're out there barking now, running around. Quiet! Gary Groff is watching. Oh, I hope you like what we said about his book.
Here is somebody asking about because he was contacted by you after he bought some Don Rosa books on eBay, and you wrote to him or you wrote to them and offered to sign them, and they're wondering if you did that with many fans.
I don't. He'd have to explain the circumstances behind that because I would not do that. There must have been some extraordinary. You mean I was suggesting he send me the books and I would sign them and send them back?
Well, it says, did you contact many fans after them winning a random Rosa comic bid on eBay, and what motivated this? In turn of 1990, 2000s, you contacted me offering to sign a comic when sent to you first.
I contacted him. How did I know he had the comic? This doesn't make sense.
So I don't know, maybe you saw that they were the highest bidder from the auction. I think it was through eBay.
Comic, nobody would bid on my comics. They weren't valuable.
No, a Don Rosa comic book, not from your collection, but if they bought a Don Rosa comic and you offered to sign it.
You don't have time for this, but he would have to explain to me the exact circumstances whereupon I would do that, because I don't think I've ever done it. There must have been some extraordinary circumstance, because I don't even recall ever doing it for anybody, where they would send me, I don't want to get into that. I used to send people signed photographs, but then I finally stopped doing that back around 1990 or so. I used to send people free drawings. I don't remember ever it doesn't even make sense. How would I know this person had a comic?
No, I think they're suggesting that there was an auction for like an Uncle Scrooge comic, and you contacted the highest bidder and offered if they wanted it signed or something.
What sort of comic?
That's what I understood.
It wouldn't have sold for that much. It would have like cover price. What? Maybe when we're done, I'll read whatever this question was and I'll understand. But
okay. But maybe here's an easier question. Or what's your favorite Western movie?
My favorite Western. Mm-hmm. If it's not The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, although James Stewart, I love James Stewart, but he was like 30 years too old for that part. He was supposed to be like just out of college. But it's a great movie, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, or Sam Peckinpah's first movie, Ride the High Country. Or, let's see, Destry Rides Again, or those are good. I usually think my favorite Western is either, I never try to think of one single. I can name my favorite 2 or 3 or 4. But Ride the High Country, oh, the ending of Ride the High Country is so good. And like I say, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. John Ford. It's a good question. If I sat here and thought long enough, I'd come up with at least a half dozen more. Great Western.
Okay, here are some suggestions. What you might like? Maybe the Sergio Leone Western movies.
Sergio, I've come to a decision about Sergio Leone movies because I recently, in the last year, they started putting a lot of European, Italian, and French movies from the mid 60s to late 60s. And apparently, and I wasn't aware of this was, and I think this is what the Batman TV show was a result of. The people who made the Batman TV show were watching what was big in Europe. And it was comic book movies and movies based on old movie serials and movies based on old pulp characters. Who were the Phantomus and Judex and Barbarella was one of these movies. They were European comic book movies. That's the first Superman movie. The one that's not titled Superman the movie. It was simply titled Superman. I get pissed off when I see all these reference books now calling it Superman the movie. That was never the title of the movie. That was a title on the original promotional posters. So when you saw a poster for Superman, you wouldn't think it was the George Reeves TV series. They called it Superman coming to a theater near you, Superman the movie. But the name of the movie was Superman. Superman was like an American version of these European things that were popular about 10 years earlier. Anyway, my point is that I like and there was more than just Sergio Leone. There was lots of Italian Westerns of that same style. I enjoy them, but not like a real American movie because they're comic book. I think they're the same style as Barbarella. They're tongue-in-cheek. They're does this make sense? They're like comic book versions of Westerns. Now, that's not to say that the great American Westerns by John Ford and back in the 30s and 40s, that's not to suggest those are accurate depictions of American cowboys of the 1870s. Of course they're not. But they're at least adult, serious adult, the ones I like, movies. Sergio Leone, besides having the great music, Ennio Morricone, or some people, Ennio Macaroni. They were like comic book versions of Westerns. I don't know if anybody agrees with that, but what was the question? I like Sergio Leone Westerns, yes.
Yes.
But not as much as the American ones because they're silly. And I like silly things, but I recognize that they're silly. For instance, I don't think there's been a funnier movie ever made than Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But I would never name that as a great comedy. I would never name that as one of my favorite movies because it's silly. It's easy to make a movie like that, in a sense. Okay, so but hurry up, come on. I'll go if Yano wants to.
Well, I think since we don't have many, or actually we got through most of the interesting questions, so maybe we should
Really?
round it up for tonight.
All right.
Because there weren't any comments in the last moments, so maybe that's it for tonight.
Okay, well, I hope I gave interesting answers so we have more than 110 people next time.
Well, it was between 130 and 140, so
not 800 like we did the first time.
No.
But people found out that I'm not going to do drawings on camera, so they said.
But yeah, that's it for tonight. I think next time we'll meet, it will be for the special signing event for Panda Graphics.
Supposedly November 11th. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then next time we do an official live for the page, maybe at the end of November or in early December again. We'll figure that out too.
all right. Let me show you what the dogs are doing right now. See them?
Sleeping.
Trying to lay in the sun, but the sun is passing them by, looks like. And now I gotta, there, I'm cockeyed. So I have to go cut grass. One of my favorite things.
Okay, then go do that so that it's a bit mowed again. And yeah, we'll meet all of you guys next time. Thanks for watching. If you didn't watch it live, you can watch it, of course, as usual. The recording on YouTube and on Facebook if you didn't catch it from the beginning. And yes,
Ask them to send comments about the live stream to the Facebook page, so we know, so you and I know if we're doing this right or not.
yes.
Some people might get sick and tired of hearing me talk about chilies or mushrooms or Western movies, or which would be just too darn bad. But
yes, I think we might have some more viewers if you started doing some drawings, but you don't want to do drawings, and it would be.
But we don't. If we had some need for viewers, I like to have them, but it doesn't mean anything. It's I'm not getting paid $1 per viewer. And I don't want to be paid $1 per viewer or anything. We do this for fun. We don't do this trying to make money. And unfortunately, if I don't make, if it's not fun, then there's no reason to do it, because I'm not going to do it for money. Just like people constantly want to pay me for drawings, even at shows. I said, no, I'd never do a drawing, just a quick sketch. I'd never do that for pay. People, and some people get really insistent, and I appreciate their what they're thinking. And I'll say, look, I'll give you, if you want to pay me $20 for the free drawing, you can pay me $20, but then you get a free print. So you take it or leave it. It's because I don't do live streams, and I don't do free drawings for money. It's hard to do a free drawing.
Somebody's just commenting more information on soda, please.
All right, okay. There's a gorgeous Coca-Cola bottling plant in Paducah, Kentucky. Was built in 1935. I think you can find some of this on the internet someplace if you Google the right words. In Paducah, Kentucky, and it's Art Deco, and the front building is beautiful round entranceway. And it's got a spiral staircase going up, and all of the floors in the building are intricate terrazza designs done by the Rosa company, Coca-Cola plant. This is my favorite thing about Coca-Cola, and it's been saved from demolition by several times because it's such a gorgeous building. But the most interesting thing is that my grandfather signed the floor. If you look through the double doors that lead into the bottling section of the plant, I think he did it it's over in the corner, so it's partially hidden by the door, but you see the name Rosa into the terrazza with metal strips and marble chips and cement. All right, that's more information on soda.
So much for that. Okay, maybe more information on soda on the next live stream, and yeah.
Don't count on it, but well.
Who knows?
So now I have to get busy and post my chicken of the woods photos on the Facebook page.
Okay, then everybody, thanks for watching. Have a nice evening, have a nice afternoon, have a nice morning wherever you are, and yeah, see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.